So we all know the common healthy habits to lose weight, but what about the not so common habits that we need to avoid, the pitfalls? Hello, my name is Mary Fran. Welcome to No Excuses, Belief in Myself. This is my place to talk about everything in regards to life. Life is all-encompassing and it all plays a factor in our weight loss. So let's make ourselves amazing, awesome, and wonderful. So we all know those healthy habits that we need to do to lose weight. Cut your calories, count your points, cut your sugar, no carbs, low carbs, high carbs, drink water. I could go on and on about the different healthy habits that we can follow. But what's not talked about a lot is the unhealthy habits that are pitfalls. Pitfalls are the things that we don't talk about a lot, but they can be a huge deterrent in your weight loss effort. So today we're going to talk about 5 different pitfalls that can happen to somebody trying to lose weight. The first thing we're going to talk about is quantity, and that is how much are you really eating? And that is something that, you can say I'm having a serving of pasta, but is it really 1 serving or is it 2? Are you counting it as a 2 or are you counting it as a 1? You have to watch your quantity. And this is actually best described in a situation with fruit for me. See, I always said, I didn't get fat off of eating grapes, and that is true. But when I was first doing Weight Watchers a long time ago, you actually did not have free foods. You had a couple 0-point foods, and they were 0 points simply because they're so low calorie, so high fiber that it equaled out to be 0 points. And I have to admit, I utilized those 0-point foods. I ate a lot of green beans, a lot of sauerkraut. I figured out that there was a Wassa cracker that if I got 1 flavor, it was 0 points. If I got the other one, it wasn't. And I kept myself in check because I knew if I ate 2 servings of something, it would make me have a point. So I just ate what I needed to eat to keep it at 1 point. And they actually made fruit free. And I was so excited. I'm like, fruit is free. Yes. And I remember walking with one of my friends and I was like, yeah, fruit is free. Fruit is free. And she looked at me and she goes, it's free, but Mary Fran, how does this really work? Because yeah, it's free. And so you can have 6 bananas, but that 6 bananas is 600 calories. And that made me think about it because quantity isn't always the best. And I actually agree with Weight Watchers because what they're doing is they're pushing you toward higher fiber things that are going to fill you up. The average person isn't going to be able to just sit and eat 6 bananas at 1 sitting. Well, maybe you can, but it still sticks in my mind. 6 free bananas are still 600 calories. So watch your quantity because quantity is huge. Pitfall number 2 is speed. How fast are you really eating your food? So there's a couple recommendations. Sometimes they say put your fork down between each bite. Sometimes they say chew your food 21 times. There's a whole bunch of different things, but it really does make a difference because your brain works slower than your stomach. So you're eating food and you don't realize you're full. But if you slow down, your body is going to be able to process and send those messages to your brain to say, slow down. Now, I eat very fast. It's something that I picked up working in the restaurant industry. My grandmother owned a diner. I worked at one point in my life. I've worked every position there. And I would be the only waitress in this diner. And so I was booking it. And so you learn to eat when you have a moment. And if somebody comes in, I want the tip. So I leave my food. So you learn to shovel your food in fast. So that's a bad habit that I picked up. And it has carried me through a lot of years of life. And one thing I've learned with this GERD and the acid reflux is that if I eat slow, it's a no. So I'm calling it my slow and no. The slower I eat, the less coughing I have after I eat. Pretty cool. Pitfall number 3 is not listening to your body. Our bodies are amazing things. They will tell us fabulous things about ourselves. And we need to listen to the symptoms. I had that cough for years and I ignored it. And then I ended up in the ER. If I would have paid attention to my body and not just trusted the doctor to say, oh, it's nothing, I would not have ended up in the ER. I would not have ended up taking pet medicine. I might have been able to forestall anything. I didn't listen to my body. And it's not just with health things, it's with eating. So a couple years ago for New Year's Eve, Jason and I went away and we went to a place that had a kitchen and we planned a fabulous meal. We had mixed drinks, we had food, and then we went and got our sweet treat. And we went into a store that had what we wanted. But when we got there, we saw a cake that really looked good, we saw brownies, and we still got the donuts that we originally went in for. And when the evening came around, I wanted to try the brownies because that's what I really wanted. But then I was like, oh, but the donuts. So I ate donuts. And then the cake, I had to try the cake. I ate a lot of food because of course I ate a lot of our dinner and I drank some mixed drinks. And it was a great New Year's Eve. You know what wasn't great? New Year's morning. I was so sick. I was laying in bed crying. And it was miserable. In fact, Jason still reminds me of that. You remember that day that you were sick? I did not listen to my body. My body was telling me I was done. My brain was telling me eat more food. I wasn't listening to my body. And I made myself sick. What's worse is I said never again. And you know I've done it again. Maybe not to that extent, but I've done it again. Listen to your body. Pitfall number 4 is the concept of, well, I exercise so I can eat. And there is some merit to it to an extent. My brother rides road bicycles and he eats anything he wants, whatever he wants, however much he wants it. It doesn't matter what it is. But my brother is thin as a rail. He's not trying to lose weight and he's burning mad calories. But that's not a good habit to be in. It's not a healthy habit to be in. And I actually did this years ago. When I was 330 pounds, I got a bicycle. I was riding 30 miles on the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, and I was doing awesome. And then I would get off the bike, and I'm like, let's go get cheeseburger subs. And I wouldn't just eat a half a sub. I would get a whole sub, and then I would get fries with it because I biked. I earned this food. And I sit back now and go, it's no wonder I was not losing weight. I was negating every good thing I did. So, you know, you have to use that exercise to eat very carefully. Don't fall into the pitfall of, I'm exercising so I can eat whatever I want. Number 5, the 5th pitfall is bites, licks, and tastes. Well, if you're in the kitchen, you're going to be tempted to grab a spoon and try what you're eating. That actually could be 10 calories, 50 calories, 1 point, whatever you count. It's counting. So the other night I was making baked ziti, and the video is upcoming here soon. And I had a little bit of cheese and I was ready to put it in my mouth, and I was like, oh, bites, licks, taste. I didn't want to have to count that extra half slice of cheese into my daily plan because I didn't have the room for it in my budget. So you have to be really careful about the bite, licks, and tastes. Years ago, I was actually making cookies. It was a cookie marathon day because I had a couple events and I was taking cookie trays to everything. So I was making a lot of cookies. And I did not want to eat the cookie dough because I love cookie dough. And I actually came up with a plan to put chewing gum in my mouth because I was like, if I put chewing gum in my mouth, I'm going to be less tempted to put something else in there. And I actually had planned, I'm going to allow myself to have 2 pieces of cookie dough and everything was good. So I would, whenever I had those 2 planned pieces, I would take my gum out, rinse my mouth out, eat my cookie dough. It was delicious. And then I'd immediately put a fresh piece of gum in. And I will tell you that I was shocked at how many times I absent-mindedly put food in my mouth. And the thing about it is when you have chewing gum in your mouth, when you put other food in, it just doesn't work. It doesn't taste right. It's just weird. So it brought it to my mind, and it was shocking how often I fell into that pitfall without even thinking. Now, that day when I made like 10 different types of cookies or more, however many it was, I actually ended up losing weight because of my plan. So it works. But if I hadn't had the gum in my mouth, how much cookie dough would I have eaten? And how much would I have gained? So there you go. There are 5 pitfalls to losing weight. They are talked about somewhat, but not a whole bunch. So I wanted to bring them to the front of the conversation. So don't fall into the pitfalls and let's get some success going. No excuses.